Yeah.
I mean,
we disappeared on you?
yeah.
I mean, I know we did.
It's like...
But I didn't know I didn't...
2 months?
I didn't know I went that far ahead.
Dude, what time is... Hold on, let me look. Holy It's October!
Welcome to the Nerdentials podcast, starring your hosts, Joe Tweet, Matthew Johnson, Nick Thomas, and Lynn Dudton.
Well, hey. Shall we make the best of this? Shall we do a recording tonight, bro?
Well, I'm here. Why? Yeah.
You answered the call. That's true.
Exactly.
Well, let me throw this out there. We were working towards our 2-year anniversary a couple months ago, apparently, and we were trying to. Matt was just trying to use all his soul energy that he gathered to give us a nice new studio to record in.
And apparently, it's nice and roasty up here too. At the same time,
it is a little warm.
Okay, I'm gonna take this shirt off. I mean that.
Teleporting has probably made that shirt a little warm from all that time travel, huh?
Yeah, and the upstairs doesn't help much.
Well,
yeah.
Did you guys like come straight here, or was there like
we?
brief
I'm pretty sure.
Like, funny thing, like we were starting that episode with you and Nick, and then we teleported to like I think we went back in time.
Yeah.
To our old setting in our old bedroom. And then we thought it'd be a bright idea to bring Nick in, and Matt accidentally teleported Nick in from like the future into the past. Something weird like that, and so he was confused as hell, so we sent him back. And then I got all giddy about it. I wanted to try to do the finger snapping teleporting thing, so I figured with his soul power and me touching him that would work. And it did, but we ended up in a dark alley late at night in the pouring rain in a complete strange neighborhood.
I landed in a pool.
Really sorry about that again. Very sorry.
The shirt actually, which is dry, so that's.
And
cool.
now his shirt's dry. Power of teleportation and time travel, apparently. But I let him to be like, hey,
I don't smell 2 months old though.
Get us to the right place. Get us to where we need to go. So I let him do it. And we're here now, which is apparently 2 months later from the time we originally disappeared.
And
I'm really sorry, dude.
Definitely way more spacious, by the way.
I mean, I'm sorry for freaking you out, Lynn.
I'm glad you guys are alive. You're just kind of like gone.
That makes two of us.
And that's. I wonder. I don't know. Where did Nick go, by the way? Like,
Nick's in the middle of a move, I think.
What? How did we miss that?
Well, dude, time travel, man. Hey, why don't you go change your shirt into something cooler because it is warm up here, and then we'll get started. Sound good, guys? Let's kick off. Let's kick off a nerd episode. Hey guys, welcome to Nerdentials, your weekly dose of the nerdy essentials covering film, TV, video games, and comic books. I'm your host, Joe Tweetin. Over to the left there is the crazy Lynn Dungeon, suffering from amnesia and sand deprivation in the great state of Nevada. And immediately to my right is the redheaded ginger beard himself, the Matthew Johnson.
How's it going, everybody?
Sorry, Lynn, I talked right over your introduction, but how are you boys doing?
I'm doing fine. You just sounded like a game show host when you started out. I'm sorry.
I was going for exuberant enthusiasm and high energy. I apologize to anyone that was caught off guard.
It was good. It was.
If you guys read the
funny.
title of this episode before hitting play, you'll see that it says something along the lines of 2-year anniversary, and maybe
whoa,
what?
Maybe
Gas.
something
Gas.
cheeky and funny. Not sure yet.
We got
You
we got to
want to do
read
it, Cheeks?
that too.
No, not you, Lynn.
Cheeks and read.
No, not you. Just our listeners. Just the listeners need to read. Or the YouTubers. Whoever's watching and listening.
Or read the cheeks. No, wait.
Cheeky. Cheeky as in funny.
Between the cheeks.
No, not between the cheeks.
Read between the cheeks.
No. None of that. That all sounds not okay.
Hello, I must ask you a few questions.
Hey, that's the kind of fun you got to pay extra for.
Well, and if you guys have forgotten our Twitters, Lynn is pay to have fun, and he's fully aware of what it takes to get that fun. Am I right?
That was awesome. How you doing?
So, guys, here's the deal. I said 2-year anniversary, and true to form, that is what this is. If you're only listening on the podcast, it's going to be a little bit of a rough and tumble through the land of nostalgia, and kind of us as a group, a nerdy group, delivering you your nerdy essentials every week. We're going to do a little bit of reflection today, and just kind of talk about our favorite moments together, but we'll start off with what were the biggest things that we enjoyed or nerded out on that made us the nerds we are today. But before I get to that, I just want to quickly do a little groundwork for you listeners and viewers. I say viewers because we are also on YouTube for any of you guys listening to this podcast. So let me throw this out there real quick. Google search Nerdentials. You'll find us. I guarantee it. You can also go to nerdentialsmedia.com. That's where you'll find all our videos, our podcasts, and our crazy nerdy reviews. But above all things, I encourage all of you to go to the YouTube channel for this episode and watch this episode on YouTube. Because for you listeners out there, you're missing out on about 5 minutes of footage recorded prior that are filled with, in my opinion, a hilariously good time. Me and Matt kind of go through a little time travel journey, trying to get to, for you YouTube online viewers, you'll see that me and Matt are in a completely new location. We're in the official, I know Lynn's getting to see this for the first time, basically, but we're in the official Nerdentials Media studio. This is going to be kind of the place where guests that come into town, if Lynn or Matt or Nick are visiting, guests that are local to the Portland, Oregon area will get to record with us here in the studio. For any other videos we do, gameplay footage, reviews, most of that's going to get recorded here in the new studio. Some of the other players out there like Lynn and Matt and Nick on a regular basis will still be recording via satellite video Skyping, but occasionally when we are doing the studio stuff, this is the place it's happening.
Yes, and it's way more spacious and it feels a lot better up in here.
Like it's a close cut view you're seeing right now on the YouTubes, but there's a lot more space around us. So if we get some larger groups in here on future episodes, we have the room for it. Yes. So we're just going to leave it at that. But guys, the intro on the video is hilarious. It's funny. Me and Matt had fun filming it. Please go to youtube.com/c/Nerdentials or just search Nerdentials on YouTube and check out this episode because the beginning it's a good watch.
And it was a fun time doing it too.
Yeah, we actually you'll catch wind of the first couple minutes of us, the time period for it, but
wind.
Going
back to cheek jokes, breaking wind.
Anyway,
it's all about the farts.
You guys will get to see. We spent about the last three months kind of piecing together the footage for that intro, so it was kind of a labor of love for me cutting it together, and it was fun to film. Anyway, that being said, we wanted to have more guys here, but unfortunately, if you haven't listened or watched to us before, just a little behind the scenes for you guys out there. All of us are full-time parents and full-time family guys. A lot of us have a lot of things going on. Nick couldn't be here because he's in the middle of moving. And a shout out to Jeff, Paul, and my brother Josh, all previous hosts and past hosts of the Nerdentials show.
Here. Rest in peace. Wait.
No, we'll bring them back. Because we will have a reunion episode, hopefully early 2019. We'll have all the guys come into the new studio and just kind of reminisce over nerdy things. But for tonight, guys, for the official 2-year anniversary week, that's right, across YouTube, from the moment we came up with
Cheers,
the name
Lynn.
Nerdentials, it's been 2 full years. Can you believe that, Matthew?
Not really.
I mean, you've been with me for the whole 2 years.
Yes. Nerd News and Brews.
And you always bring that back. Anyone confused about that reference, watch the first 30 seconds of our 1-year anniversary video on YouTube. You see the footage of where we originated, and we quickly transitioned into what it is now. And Lynn, you joined us a little over a year ago now. I think officially you've been with us for a full year plus. I put the plus there because I don't remember the exact episode you jumped in, but it was over a year now.
It was like right before your 1 year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's some footage, or you were in one of the clips, I think, for, if you go to the YouTube video, you're in one of the podcast episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, those are some good times. So, anyway, let's kick things off in a more chronological order by just kind of going around the table today and just each of us kind of giving a little bit of a spiel of kind of what were some of the big things we nerded out on as we were growing up that made us the nerds we are today. Like kind of some of the foundation that made us nerds today. Lynn, if you need a minute, that's fine. If either of you guys need a minute, I could kick things off.
I don't need a minute.
All right. Go give us some of your earliest starting points as far as the nerd world goes, Matthew.
So as far as video games go, that's going to go back to when I was 5 years old. And my parents bought me my first Nintendo NES system. And yes, I know that shows my age, but, whatever.
We're going back a ways.
My first game I played was not Mario. It was Mickey Mouse Capades. And I loved the crap out of that game so much that I played it over and over again. And my parents got the kick out of me sitting there with the controller going, sticking my tongue out, trying to jump with the person. And
twitching.
Yeah. They got a kick out of that. And from that point, that was... I loved video games and saw a lot of potential. And I eventually started playing Mario, Duck Hunt. One of my favorite games ended up being F-15 Strike Eagle for the regular Nintendo. And even Zelda. Loved the crap out of Link. Link was one of my favorites. I even had the gold freaking...
The first
cartridge.
one?
Yep.
Dang.
And so that progressed into Super Nintendo, N64, so on and so forth. As far as comic books go, my first comic that I bought was a Batman comic, and I was 9 at the time. And from that point, I just loved superheroes. I loved reading them. Ended up having quite the collection. Lost the collection. My parents' garage got broken into. My comic books got stolen. My dad's guitar got stolen.
Oh,
yeah,
it's painful.
And yeah, he had a Stratocaster, 1968 Stratocaster, Fender Stratocaster. And I was, yeah.
I'm shedding tears for you.
But from that point on, I love superheroes. I love the stories I was reading about them, the back story. And then I've always been a fan of movies. My all-time favorite movie is Casablanca. And a lot of people look at me like, what the hell? That doesn't even seem like a...
That's classic cinema, man.
Yeah.
Like, I thought something a little nerdier, like...
Nope.
Like, Flash Gordon, or, War of the Worlds, like old school sci-fi, but you're saying straight up
like a
drama, black and white Casablanca.
Yep.
Maybe not today.
Maybe not tomorrow, but if you don't get on that plane, you'll regret it. Yes.
We need to get into some, on a side note, guys. I love classic cinema. We'll need to do a mini episode on classic cinema at some point.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Sorry, get back to it. Yeah, so
No worries.
Always love cinema.
And I like the characters that you saw on the screen and seeing backstories on them. I got into Star Wars. I got into Star Trek at an early age, and that took off. No, I don't have a favorite of the two. I love them both, so don't even go there, folks.
There's no controversy in his heart.
No. Star Trek The Next Generation was a show that I watched every week to a T. Watched every episode with my dad.
Which one?
Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh, that's a very
and
soft spot in my heart, dude, because my mom loved that show as well.
when I was 11 years old, I even got a USS Enterprise that made sounds, and it was about yay big, long, wide. Like I love the crap out of the thing. Yeah, and I think my parents still have it, to be honest. So it's probably in the garage somewhere.
I hope so, dude. That's a nice piece of memory aside from collectability.
Yeah. And then, like, as far as, like, this show goes, or are we not doing that yet? Not yet.
We're covering kind of we're just looking for, like, kind of like a baseline of what formed you into the nerd you are today. And that can cover everything that we usually cover. Comics, anime, TV, movies, video games, comics, board games even. Like, if it's something that hit a certain sweet spot for nerdism... what kind of pushed you into it, to what you are now?
What pushed me into anime was actually talked about in the last episode. And it took us freaking forever to figure out.
Wait, hold up.
I don't even remember
the name. You still don't remember the show? Still don't know?
No, I mean, I know we got it. I, looked it up and I saw the name of it, but I forgot it again.
No, you must... No, well, here's the thing. On a quick side note, pulling back the curtain, I just finished listeners behind the curtains. You'll have heard the previous episode before this one, but for the sake of continuity, I just finished editing that episode, and you guys got to the point where you're like, you made a call to listeners and said, "Listeners, please help us figure out what this is." But for the recording portion, you never figured it out. So as far as the listeners go, they have no clue. You guys never figured it out.
Freaking cut the...
You guys stopped recording.
Yeah.
That was like your last topic.
Me and Lynn, Lynn was with me when I figured it out. Like, I was just like,
Lynn, do you remember?
I've got it saved in my... it's in one of the tabs on my phone browser.
Yeah. It's all good. All right, well...
I know one of them is called the 8-Man. So...
Yeah.
Right.
And that was back in 1993, I think.
So anime... What about Anime 3 in? So you're talking about last episode, talking about anime.
Yeah. There was one anime in particular that actually, got me into wanting to watch more. Which... Listener, just go try to figure that out again, because I can't remember.
If you guys listened to Monday's episode, he still can't remember. So
I do love there is one that I will always have stuck in my head because it's one of my favorites of all time, and that's Vampire Hunter D and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Those two animes are, bar none, my favorite, and I will continue loving those. I even played the original PlayStation Vampire Hunter D game, which I'm surprised they didn't do like a sequel to it, because I just... it was
like a remaster, like what they've been doing with all the PlayStation games.
Like that would make my heart sing, because that was fun to play. But I would say that's like my baseline. Then I got into Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Geo 2.0, or no, sorry, not Geo, Neo 2.0. Sorry, folks. Blue, some other ones, Attack on Titan. I like a lot.
Those are all really good ones.
But yeah, that's my nerdiness in a nutshell.
That's your foundation.
I am a big sports fanatic as well, which is kind of hard for a lot of people to understand, like how I'm such a big freaking nerd, but still love sports completely.
Now, to be fair, for all you listeners out there, I know a lot of our audience base is probably, maintaining a nerdy background, but I'm also aware that people can have a variety of interests, and the thing I like to pride our heart on, as far as like our purpose as Nerdentials and what we represent, is we represent the idea that being a nerd means you are passionate about a very specific thing. And as a show, we cover a variety of specific things, which then kind of broadens that spectrum. And, I mean, if you guys out there really want a sports mini podcast, just tell Matthew over here. He knows a couple guys that'll do it.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. But, like, sports, people are hardcore passionate about sports. I'm not one of those guys. I just, like, I like watching... the display of the game, but I don't follow it, and it's not something that hooks me. But there's people out there that it does, and Matt here is one of our hosts that it really digs its teeth into him, and he could talk at length about sports. So if there's any sport fanatics out there, let us know. We could always start up a little small series on sports talk.
That'd be pretty cool.
But
I'd be down.
He would probably be heading that one up. In case you're still listening to this show, Nick in PDX from Geekologist Radio, shout out to you. I've heard rumblings of your sports interests, dude. Hit this guy up. He's still interested.
Funny thing.
Oh, is this behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, we've actually been talking.
Are we cutting? Should we cut this part?
No, I mean,
okay.
me and him have actually had talks about doing a side project.
I know. So,
it's
if
not
I may,
it's not for sure yet.
I know. If I may,
what's up?
I'm putting out a call to action for Nick. Nick and PDX from Geekologist Radio. Good old dear friends across the pond who also like nerdy things, but in a geekier fashion, if I may. Putting a call out to you, Nick. You like sports. He's bringing it up in the middle of our beloved Nerdcast. The least you can do is start your work at putting something together. I know Matthew's down. Will you answer? I'm looking right at you if you're on YouTube. Anyway. That was my call out to you, sir. All right, let's move on. So, sports.
Yeah.
That is something that's hooked into your life.
Yeah, so sports, movies, games, comic books, anything we talk about.
Most things, I hope.
Yeah, like, I have a very wide variety of things I like to talk about. I even like watching, like, some dancers on YouTube. Like, there's some unbelievable dancers on YouTube. Anyways,
there's a plethora of categories outside of our normal niche that we could expand upon, and maybe we'll look into doing that. Lynn, I'm going to yammer. I've got to control myself a little bit because when I get talking about my personal life experience, it can go at length. So I'm going to try to formulate my thoughts. I want to kind of throw it over to you first so that I can
say that could be like a whole podcast.
I could drown people out with my own. I'm not going to do that here tonight, guys. Don't worry. Lynn, give us a couple baseline things you grew up with that made you the nerd you are today. Games, whatever.
Yeah. So, like, for me, gaming really started when I was younger. Dad brought home one of those old computers that's got the keyboard attached to the tower and the screen is in the tower.
The black and green.
Man.
Got the big
floppy drives.
Was it did PC
the big ones?
Did PC have that? Because
like,
I know Apple Macintosh had that set up. Did PC put out a keyboard combo?
The one that we had was an IBM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it started with Centipede. That was the only thing that we had. When you booted up, it was just a line that chased dots around the screen. That was the start of gaming for me. And then we moved up to a Texas Instrument, which was basically a keyboard with a coaxial cable that plugged into your TV. And then from there, Mom and Dad got me a Super NES with Mario Kart for Christmas one year.
Nice.
that was like my first like big name console.
Did they film you like freaking out like some of those
home videos?
No, I lucked out and didn't get the opportunity to be embarrassed. I mean, they got pictures of it, but
same thing happened with me with the Nintendo. Like, they took pictures. Anyway, sorry. It's nostalgia.
Yeah.
I did the same thing while I was playing Mario Kart, where I was like leaning in turns and stuff and all that. And then it moved up to a PlayStation, then a PlayStation 2, and then I got an Xbox for the Halo because all the friends were doing, LAN parties with Halo. So I had to be one of the cool kids.
He had a good foundation.
And he veered back away.
Sorry, then we all bailed the PC, and it was StarCraft. Like nothing but StarCraft for a while, and then World of Warcraft.
Fair enough.
Then once my PC pooped out on me, we went back to console.
I forgot I dabbled in a little bit of Diablo on PC back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Pre-console.
Yeah.
Diablo was where it was at.
Click, 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 click.
Yeah.
So then, okay, go on.
Like my TV, like the TV interests were very like spearheaded by Dad, and that was like old school Adam West Batman, and that was where.
That's a nice. That's some classic stuff right there.
Yeah,
like that.
And Dad used to collect the the models, like how you'd build Batman's car and stuff. He had like stages and stuff, and the Batmobile, the Batboat, the little helicopter that Adam West had, and he was trying to keep them in the plastic. But me being a kid, I always ripped them out and built them.
Of course,
But and then like comic book interests that got me into that were like original Green Goblin with Spider-Man. That was like the first one there, and then Dad and I got into Spawn, and we really liked that one, and we kind of went from there and went towards the darker stuff.
Nice, man. You went dark early then, huh?
Yeah, we went dark pretty early, and anime for me was like original Toonami. Like, Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha.
Man, Toonami, is that thing still kicking?
Yeah, they actually just brought it back.
Oh, wow. Because I'm familiar with that name, but that seems very, like, dated.
Yeah, it is pretty dated when you look at some of the shows that are on it. Like, what was it? Vash the Stampede and Cowboy Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
They still
Yeah.
play
And even Dragon Ball Z and original Dragon Ball were both.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah. They moved Dragon Ball over to daytime, like for kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of where I was at. And then we were always big Star Wars fans. But
Nice. What's the earliest age you recall watching Star Wars? If you can remember.
That was A New Hope, and that was probably like 7 or 8. But like I don't really memories before that were fuzzy, but like 7 or 8
Sure.
I can guarantee we were watching A New Hope.
I think because a lot of us are, not to age us, particularly, but we're all like, none of us are really ashamed of it, but we're all around close to mid-30s, and so we're past the point of like the release dates for those films, because it was late 70s, early 80s when those came out.
Good old VHS.
But, and can I just throw this out there? Christmas specials, holiday cable network repeats,
Oh, man.
movie marathons, dude. That's where I grew up with Star Wars. Was seeing it on the TV at my grandma's house every Thanksgiving. It would be playing on the cable TV, or sometimes Christmas. You remember that? You guys have memories of it being on TV?
I remember that,
Yeah.
but generally at my house during those times, my mom. Sorry.
Was it James Bond? Is that where
No. Where are you going?
A Christmas, like my mom loves the movie A Christmas Story. So every
is that the
time,
Hallmark one?
the one where you'll shoot your eye out with the freaking BB gun. Yeah, that I got sick of that.
That one,
'cause
yeah.
They had it going like 24 hours one day, and the whole day it was on. I'm like, Mom, you're killing me.
Can we be done with this? Lynn, go ahead and wrap up wherever you were at. You were into Star Wars. You started watching. That was your earliest time. As a quick side question, did you ever get into Star Trek that early on? Is that anything that kind of hit your radar?
We caught a few of them here and there. Like I think Dad's biggest thing was like, I was really hooked on Reading Rainbow, so he was into the
LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
Geordie LaForge.
Yeah. That was
Next Generation for all you noobs out there. Yeah.
That was my Star Trek right there.
I actually watched Reading a Rainbow too. Like every freaking Sunday. That was because it wasn't on a Saturday; it was on Sunday, and that was like the only cartoon-ish type of thing that
kids programming. Yeah. So Reading Rainbow was a connection for you, but is it fair to say that you caught probably out of all the different series, Next Generation having Geordie LaForge was probably one you saw most of?
I watched almost all of Next Generation. Nice.
See, I think it might be a little bit of our age group, the early to mid 30s, of having caught that in early childhood. Because before that, there were reruns of the original Star Trek, but unless your parents were into it, you probably didn't, watch it, because a lot of it was reruns at that point. Yeah. Because it was, it was 20 years before Gene Roddenberry came back with Next Generation, in the 80s into the early 90s.
Yeah,
but
88, I think, was the first episode.
That was the
I want to say 87. Fall of 87 going into 88. I could be wrong. Anyway, let's not get anyone's nerd card ripped out tonight. We're trying to reminisce and sound somewhat intelligent.
Bullshit. Always rip out somebody's nerd card. What?
You stop it.
Sorry.
Is there... sorry, I didn't mean to kind of cap off where you were at. Any other thoughts?
like probably the only other thing was the movie. Like Matt was talking about how he always associated Christmas with A Christmas Carol, or not A Christmas Story. Sorry,
Christmas Story for him, yeah.
Yeah, but mine was like our biggest thing at my house. Dad was hooked on the Bond films. We were a big Bond family. That was our series.
That's cool, though.
The original Sean Connery and Bond, yeah. Sean Connery and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Yeah.
There's Pierce Brosnan. There's...
What about the guy in between Sean Connery and Pierce? Come on.
I can't think of the guy's name. I see his face.
He's very short-lived.
Yeah, like 2 freaking movies. Oh, what the heck? I can't even.
Come on, Mac.
Nerd card right here.
Here, let me take that. Here, Lynn. There's his nerd card.
Who is it?
Go on.
There was actually hold on. There was actually quite a few more in between. Sean Connery and Pierce Brosnan.
I know. I was making a broad statement. Sorry.
Hold on. There's Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
That was the other big one. A lot of people love Roger Moore.
That wasn't the shortest one, though, right? That wasn't the shortest one.
No. That wasn't the shortest one. So what's the guy's name from There Will Be Blood and the movie with
See, I could see his face. I can't think of
Yeah, he was only in 3 movies. He was only in 3 movies, and one of them was...
I thought it was 2.
No, that was actually another guy that was only in 2, and that was shoot, I can't remember his name either.
See, there.
Okay, I'm cheating. You guys can take half my nerd card. Oh, okay.
Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton was the one who had
Timothy Dalton. Yes.
3 or 4 movies, and then the one that was before or after Timothy Dalton, but before Pierce Brosnan. I can't remember his name.
Was it Richard something?
That was weird. Where is it?
Wasn't Roger Moore before Sean Connery?
So,
technically, yes.
Okay, the actors' names, I don't have them listed as far as year, but their names are as this. We've got Sean Connery, David Niven, George Lazenby, or Lazenby.
That was one movie.
I'm familiar. Yeah, he was very, one movie guy.
Yeah.
Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and our current Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
So, but the David Niven and the George Lazenby, those were 2 of the short-running guys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Lazenby was one movie.
Roger Moore, Sean Connery, and Pierce ran the longest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Pierce actually ran the longest out of those 3. No. Sorry. No, Connery did. And then Brosnan, and then Roger Moore. As far as movie,
it might be close. It might be close between Roger Moore and Pierce.
Well, either way, no one's gonna get. I'm not gonna get any extra credit tonight.
It was either Nevins or the other guy who was only in 2. Because I know one of them was only in 2, and you just kind of forgettable. Nobody really likes those ones.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
You're talking about Christmas though. Did you guys ever watch the Claymation Christmas that ABC had? It was for it was called the California Raisins Claymation Christmas.
Oh,
I'd like to make a quick callback to our Christmas special 2016 with Jeff Berry on YouTube, where you reference that exact movie.
Yes.
Hey, and my grandmother actually has the posable models for that. Well, used to.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
And after she passed away, I don't know where they went from there. It used to be on in a hutch, but
Sad day.
Sorry, I just had to go with the nostalgia as far as like Christmas goes. Like with
You went hardcore, and that, like, my reference kind of bleeds into our second segment about our times with the crew.
Yes,
but
yes.
Do you have any other concluding points you'd like to add to the foundation of your nerdism?
no, I don't. I'm good.
I would say this
get into your spiel.
I love all our friends that I could have had on tonight, but this would have been a really god awful long episode if we had let everyone talk about their foundation.
Yes. I mean, maybe for that anniversary that we do like a 2-hour long. Maybe.
Everyone, we'll just be like, "Hey guys, go recap our 3, and then we'll let these guys talk."
Yeah.
Man, if our 3-year, if we can manage to get everybody, it'd be like a 4-part, like 4-hour long
miniseries.
Yeah.
If we can get everyone here for that, I don't care how I have to edit or cut it. We'll make it happen. It could be a multi-part series.
I forgot about like as far as like TV goes, cartoons, the original Autobots, G.I. Joe, freaking I started on those as far as like
Right.
reference to
Dude,
TV show.
as we're covering these like foundational things that we loved, it's just reminding me of how many mini episode deep dives we could be producing right now if we just sat down and took some time to record. But that being said,
so many episodes.
that being said, guys, let's continue this nostalgia train. And I will give you guys a little bit of brief history on me and my nerd life.
You only have 10 minutes.
Brief.
You know what? We'll see, but I plan on streamlining it a little bit because you guys have all.
Hey, you know what else covers your cheeks? Some briefs.
Hashtag truth.
Keep it
In
brief.
the words of Morgan Freeman. Hashtag truth. Anyway. Okay, guys, come on, give me a minute here. Okay, here we go. So,
Go.
So my earliest forms of nerdom, I'm going to kind of go a little bit into the primordial pool or the primordial ooze of like prehistoric times for my nerdism, and go to at the age of 5.
Whoa!
My
Teenage Mutant Ninja Nerds.
if it has to be that way, yes. So I started off with getting into drawing, which led me to start drawing things like Power Rangers and Sonic the Hedgehog. And my early, I'm not different so much from everyone else because I also had like a gaming background. My earliest console was Nintendo. Duck Hunt and the original Super Mario on Nintendo. My uncle bought us one, and then our grandparents bought us one, and this kind of happened throughout our childhood. We would end up with duplicates of some things because, our family was kind of poor at communicating with, present Christmas holiday purchases and what have you. So we gave that one away or kept it in storage, or I don't know. But I have a younger brother and sister. They're 2 years apart from me, and so a lot of this stuff I played with them early on. One of my favorite games, and this is going to kind of maybe surprise people, but for the original Nintendo, it is the Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers platform game. And the biggest reason is, 1, I was obsessed with that show, and 2, my sister played with me all the time because it had a co-op option where one played as Chip, one played as Dale. And you could do it solo, but you were able to defeat the bosses at the end of every stage a little easier if you had a buddy helping you. I love the Mario games though, but like I said, the one I just kind of played a lot or more than any other one was the Chip 'n Dale game. As far as like the other early things, like I got into back in 1993, 2 huge things came out that were widely popular with my age group at the time, and that was the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, with Sonic the
Pogs.
Pogs? Sure.
Dude. You got a metal slammer? Oh, sorry.
I was around for that. I was around for Pogs. But in this early era... Now, I loved Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I spent probably the following 4 to 5 years following that series, and then I eventually fell off. I would love to tell you about the history of Power Rangers and why it ended up where it's at today, but that's a whole nother thing. I won't go into that.
That's a deep dive for later.
That's a deep dive, yeah. But something that people forget, and I gotta clarify, there are a couple groups of people out there that will remember two different kinds of Sonic the Hedgehog. There was The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then there was Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog was the ABC dark take that was directly adapted from the comic books. Now, to be fair, the comic books followed both, because from issue 1 through 15... were really cheesy, really silly slapstick humor with like the two minions that were the two robots, silly robots that worked for Robotnik, and it was very over the top, very silly, very Looney Tunes style, and that show was called The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now that kind of aired around the same time as the more serious version called just Sonic the Hedgehog, which followed a darker take with the planet Mobius and Knothole Village, and Sonic leading a group of the Freedom Fighters, and Dr. Robotnik literally taking his Uncle Chuck and roboticizing him. That crap got real and dark for kids.
I thought Sonic the Hedgehog had Eggman, not Dr. Robotnik.
No. Dr. Robotnik from 93 to 95... 26 episodes. It went 1.5 seasons. I have them on DVD. And it ended on a cliffhanger. End of season 2 was a cliffhanger where Dr. Robotnik, they seemingly destroyed him. And then Snively, or Snively, however you want to pronounce it. I think in the comic books, or I mean in that series, Robotnik referred to him as Snively. In the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, he called him Snively. That's another interesting little side fact. But this one was more about the Power Rings, Sonic being in love with Princess... Oh, massive brain fart blank right here.
You heard it here, folks. The brain fart that was heard from 1,000 miles away. Wait.
Sally. Princess Sally. There it is. I saved myself. Okay. That show got dark and pretty serious. You know, nothing super adult, but it got way more serious than the silly slapstick humor with the Eggman. And interestingly enough, over the last couple years, they've brought that version back, but with like the 3 younger hedgehogs that are supposedly related to Sonic, and instead of Dr. Ivo Robotnik, it's now Eggman, and it's kind of following the current line of comic books. It's called like Sonic X or something like that. I would love to go back and rewatch that. My kids have gotten into all these things. The reason I'm super nostalgic about Power Rangers and Sonic right now is because both my 2 younger girls, they're 5 and 7 years old, have on their own. I have not pushed them to do this, just by being on Netflix and seeing things that are suggested to them in the kids section. They have fallen in love with Power Rangers themselves, and they have fallen in love with Sonic by themselves without my own encouragement. Makes me extremely proud as a parent, and it gives me an excuse to go watch that crap with them and see where they've gone with those shows.
Thank you, Netflix.
And thank you, internet streaming. You have not completely destroyed my kids yet. So now moving through the 90s past that point, as I was growing up, we had mentioned earlier, Star Wars was kind of definitely prevalent in my life, but my parents didn't ever own the VHSs, because, or at least not early on, because it always came on like cable TV during Thanksgiving. There was always a marathon going on. So the family would get together at my grandma's house, and she'd always put on whatever network it was playing on. My parents did get the VHSs eventually, and we did watch them in their entirety. I grew up on a lot of Disney movies. My mom loved buying all the classic, like, feature-length films, Aladdin, Snow White, all the classics. We had a huge VHS collection. And then moving beyond that, but quickly segueing from what happened with my gaming history, that it was kind of an interesting story that really kind of changed up what I got into, because I mentioned Sonic before, but there was kind of something pivotal that happened that fully threw me into the world of Sonic. And what happened was, we had the original Nintendo, and when I was about 9 or 10 years old, somewhere around there, I had asked my parents, I really badly want a Super Nintendo. The reason I said Super Nintendo is because my cousins, my mom's sister, we lived next door to them for several years, and I would always go over, during the holidays, I'd always go over to their house while we were at Grandma and Grandpa's. They lived next door. We'd go over to their house. They'd have the Super Nintendo. I loved the frickin' Mario Kart, the Paper Mario RPG stuff. The Star Fox was one of my favorites. Now, I was like a kid, just like my parents. I gotta give credit to my parents for raising me the way they did, because I feel like I'm just naturally a kid wouldn't be as smart to hide their disappointment as I feel that I did. Like, I pulled off a really, like, I was very humble and like, thanks, Mom and Dad, for the gift I did get, because I asked for Super Nintendo that Christmas, and out of no fault of their own, they completely just, like, misheard or thought I was asking for something completely different. Because what I opened up was a freaking Sega Genesis that came with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. And I think my mom started buying me the comic books before I got that system, and she knew I liked the comic books. There must have been some thought in her head when they were shopping that year that she saw Sonic on the cover of that gaming system and thought, oh, he'll love this. And my mom was a real sweet little lady, and that I cannot picture any other thought going through her head than her just seeing the picture cover on that system and thinking, right, oh, Joey will love that. And yes, I admitted it to the public, guys. 33 years old today. I used to be called Joey when I was little. It's something I used to be embarrassed about going into high school, and that's why I was like, my name's Joe. But I grew up for 15 years being called Joey before I got into my freshman year of high school, whatever year that was.
I was always called by my actual name, Matthew, for like the longest time growing up. So,
and I still call you that today.
That too. But I also got called Maddie.
I can picture that happening as like a little kid reference. You know, you call them by that. But no, you're fine. Oh, man, so I kind of had an idea that the box that was wrapped there was a gaming system, and so my little 11-year-old, 10-year-old head is exploding with ideas that they must have got that for me. And it's so insane how I went into that, and like most kids you imagine would throw a fit or act spoiled or super disappointed. I so delicately was just like super disappointed inside, but couldn't come to grips with complaining. I was like, thanks, Mom. Like, I felt the weight hit my stomach as I said those words, thanks, Mom and Dad. Like, they were big smiles on their faces. I didn't want to hurt their feelings, and I'm only 10 years old. I'm not gloating about my ability to be charismatic and humble, but I had to have had some chops back then, and I attribute that to my parents raising me to be appreciative of what you're given, kind of thing. You won't get that in 2018 kids today.
Hey,
God,
no.
Holy crap, man!
My daughter Maggie. Dude, yeah, never mind.
Anyway, let's not bash our own kids, shall we? Right, Lynn? That being said, from that point forward, I became obsessed with Sonic. Because I was into the comics. I had the Sega. Little did I know Sega would collapse 5 years later. Or whatever that.
Wow, with the Dreamcast.
Yeah, they tried to compete with PlayStation with the Dreamcast.
We've had this conversation about the rise and fall of Sega, guys. Shameless plug. Go check out that episode. It's a few episodes back, but
like 15.
Not that far back. It was a mini-sode. Anyway, all I'd like to say though is I didn't get into PlayStation. Oh, because I wanted to go back to Nintendo. Like, I loved the Sega Genesis, but like that was around the period of time where Sega was becoming less popular with people, and the Nintendo 64 came out, and that was the first time in years that I wished very much for that, because I was reading magazines and kind of keeping up on what Nintendo was putting out that was cool and huge. 3D was a big thing. Super Mario 64, full 3D worlds, no longer side-scrolling. We were blown away when that came out. 1997, that Christmas, I was like, I'd really like a Nintendo 64. That was on my wish list. Dude, I got it. Boom. I had a head cold, and I played all day Diddy Kong Racing and Super Mario 64 on Christmas morning with a nasty head cold. In 1997, man. That year I was 12. I was 12 years old when the 64 was released. And looking back, dude, my parents really spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because consoles were still $400 back then.
Yeah.
I think it might have been on sale for like $350, but I couldn't believe my parents actually bought it for me. I was so shocked when I opened up that gift. It's probably one of my fondest memories ever as a kid, was opening that thing up. And so because of the 64, I never got into PlayStation at the time. Other things kind of came and went. My best friend had a PlayStation, so I kind of at the time I lived through him vicariously. He was into the Legends of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and so I was exposed to that stuff, but I didn't have it myself.
Right.
And then come 2001, sophomore year of high school, I'm really dating myself in this episode, guys. I'm giving you the blow-to-blow age and years here. Xbox 2001, November 2001, Halo was the first game I ever owned and the first system I got where I moved away from the classic Nintendo and Sega, and instead of the possibility of Sony, because I still had a couple friends with it, I was really drawn to Halo, and I'm like, I'm going to give this a try. There weren't any other friends that actually had one, which is really weird why I made that move. But the online gameplay wasn't a huge thing at the time, so I didn't have a reason to... Because, nowadays people make the choice because you go where your friends are playing because of online.
Right.
But 2001, it was like, just what's the most attractive thing to you personally? And I was drawn to Xbox.
Yeah.
But to wrap up the foundation of my nerdism, I would say, same as you guys, Star Trek Next Generation. My mom loved Star Trek, and I still adore her for that because she still to this day loves Star Trek. But Next Generation was what was playing at the time as I was growing up, and that's what I got into. And because of her, I spent a little time with Deep Space Nine, but it was such a weird, different direction for Star Trek in general. I didn't stick with it. But come Voyager, I know, guys, this is crazy. I lived in kind of a pretty reserved household. They had really strict times, and even my own wife is just blown away that I had a bedtime at age, I don't want to say right now, but when Star Trek Voyager came out, and Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman with Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain, only went for 4 seasons. Stop shaking your head, Lynn. That was fun at the time.
Dean Cain was
come on.
Superman.
Hey, mine was Kevin Sorbo as Hercules and Lucy Lawless as Xena.
Right. So, yeah, to each his own. And those were good shows, too. I never got hooked into them at the time. But Star Trek Voyager, Kent Mulgrew of the Orange is the New Black fame, who now plays a Russian character known as Red in that series. She's a fantastic actor. I'm so glad that she's still doing work today. But she was an incredible female captain in the Star Trek Pantheon, the first female captain in a long-running series. Mm-hmm. She did an excellent job. Right now, we could do a mini-sode, and I could list off by heart every actor in that show. It's one of the shows I obsessed over. And it's very divided from fans. You ask fans, okay, Star Trek Voyager, go. You get one or the other. You never find someone who's lukewarm about it. You find someone who thinks it was stupid and hated it, or who obsessively loved it. I've never found someone who was completely in between. You're indifferent, but you're indifferent about a lot of things. You're never super negative, Matthew.
No.
I think you're an exception to that rule. You can choose to be negative about things when for the sake of conversation on our podcast.
Right.
But in general, you're not a real hateful person when it comes to nerd content. I don't know where Lynn is. He's kind of like raging with his mouth open over there. Are you a lukewarm person on the series, or did it pass you by completely?
No, I liked it.
Okay.
That was one that I legitimately liked.
Okay,
I got into it, and Robin definitely liked that one too.
Okay, so there's the camp. You kind of did. How about you, Matthew? Did it pass you by, or were you just kind of indifferent?
I mean, I liked it to an extent,
but it didn't hook you in.
I liked Deep Space Nine better. To be honest,
did you
over those two?
Did you fully lock into Deep Space Nine for its run?
Yes.
Okay, here's where we're split. It was so different for me. It didn't hook me. For you, it did. And Voyager kind of did the same thing for you. It didn't hook you enough. That being said,
Next Generation. Sorry.
But I grew up Next Generation. I matured into Star Trek Voyager and was obsessed over it. I even collected the action figures. I even started recreating the bridge out of cardboard. I was huge into model making as a kid. I never finished the set. I'm very disappointed that I never finished it because it kind of ended up in the trash. I got the foundation for the bridge. It looked really sick, and I had all the figures. I still do in a tote over there in this office.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
There is one character from Next Generation to Deep Space Nine to Voyager that has always appeared. Who is it?
Charles Barkley.
Q.
Him too. Lieutenant Barkley actually has been around since Next Generation and has made appearances in all the series.
Yes, he has.
Very minimally. So you got to give me some credit. But yes, Lauren. I'm really bad on some actors that were not consistent. But yeah, yes. Q. Yeah.
And he played the same exact character the whole time because that's who Q was.
Wait, were you going to say Lawrence Fishburne?
No, not Lawrence. No. John Delancey.
Yes.
I was thinking Lawrence from the Delancey part of his name, but it was John Delancey who plays Q, the infinite, omnipotent, omniscient beings of the Q race of people from outside of the continuum. Anyway.
the face of Bo from Star Trek?
Yeah, like the face of Bo. Wait, what? You mean Doctor Who?
From Star Trek? No. It's like the equivalent for Star Trek, but it's the face of Bo.
Which, for those that may not know, is we're referencing Doctor Who and what's his name from Torchwood.
Yeah,
another guy I love who plays Merlin from Arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Same actor. Anyway, let's move on so I don't continue incriminating myself with lack of actor name knowledge.
Oh, we could probably all be in that series.
False. I can't even for that.
I still know
when
Data
I see
as
names
Data.
pop up, I can be like, him, yes. You know, when I see the name,
right?
I'm bad at a lot of like calling it out. Yeah, I've always loved Star Trek. I've always loved Star Wars. I have mutual love for a lot of things that sometimes divide fans. I've gotten into anime because of my my brother and my brother-in-law, who is full-blown of Hmong descent. So it's a branch out in like Asia country. So he's Asian, basically, if I'm going to be blunt here. And his whole family, not extended family, like his buddies and bros and cousins, all get into anime and Japanese role-playing games and stuff like that. So I'm very familiar, and I've been drawn into a lot of those shows. I never grew up with anime, but in my adult life, it's formulated its own interest with me. And I've probably missed a few things here and there. All of us have had an extensive background in these things. And it's a wonderful time to be alive as a nerd in 2018. Let me just throw that out there. The industry that makes people rich is now thriving on the things that we were afraid to share when we were kids.
Yep.
So, let it be known, if you're passionate about something, don't let that deter you from expressing it.
The nerds rule the world now. It's no longer the jocks. Wait, just kidding.
Although a lot of those jocks are becoming nerds, so...
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, see, to each his own, all are welcome in this world.
Yeah, we don't discriminate.
No, especially if you are passionate about things.
Yes.
It's fun, it's good and fun to be passionate about stuff. It means you're human and you're alive.
And you can actually debate stuff and not get mad and stop talking to people.
Yeah, like we love getting heated, but we try not to be ever angry or hateful behind it. We always try to just explore the angles, depending on how drunk we are. Sometimes we can get a little ragey. What are you doing, Lynn?
Lynn's floating.
If you guys are watching the YouTube channel, Lynn's head is floating.
I was exploring the angles. Come on.
I'm gonna make okay, guys. We're running a bit long here on the nostalgia train, but we're going to continue climbing to the end of this show with a little more nostalgia. It's kind of a weird time to plug this. I'm gonna showcase some of the artwork here right now, but behind us is a little bit of a spooky theme because
it is the end of October.
It is the end of October,
is right
so
around the corner.
I want to wish you guys a happy Halloween if you're listening to this. This will be up day before or the day of Halloween, which lands on a Wednesday this week.
Yes.
I was really good last year. I got our Halloween special up like the day before Halloween.
And we talked about the spookiest movies we liked. Or our favorite spooky movies.
We did. And that's kind of like, that's not where we're going with this episode. I wasn't going to like segue into that.
I was just plugging
We'll come back. We'll do a top something of spooky nature. It won't be movies, like maybe games next time.
I say games.
That's something we haven't done yet, is our like top favorite scary games of all time.
The Awakening and Condemned.
Resident Evil 7 on VR. Anyway,
hey.
PT. Rest in peace, PT. But it's still around for those that didn't delete it.
And, wait, hold up. Didn't you guys record me doing that?
Yeah, I got some footage. I might dig that up and throw it up on here right now. Jesus. Right here.
Oh my god.
Maybe. You might be watching it right now, guys. I might cut this whole part out, but maybe I'm showing you some footage.
Don't do it.
I'm embarrassing Matthew right now if I am.
I definitely have like 4 videos saved on my phone.
I do too. I have a couple right now that I can look at. But anyway, so let's move on. So guys, what we want to do now that we've given you the foundation of why we're nerds and why we're doing this show.
These guys are going to know that I'm like a chicken now.
I was segueing out of the cut, so I'll either cut it out completely or I'll leave it in. You don't got to keep talking about it, man. At this point, you either move on or you don't.
It's whatever anymore.
All right.
Still not watching it.
So I wanted to, and that's okay. I wanted to list off our, so whatever you guys can recall about your favorite moments with the Nerdentials crew over the last year. 2 years if you've been here that long.
Lynn wants...
Lynn's got something on top of his mind.
So,
Go ahead.
I've got 2.
Okay.
I've got 2. So from year 1, it would be you guys doing Bean Boozled. That was a good episode that I really enjoyed. Okay. And then
That was a really gross episode, by the way.
from my time, my other favorite would be that one time, I don't know if you guys remember it, but I suggested that we do top 10 videos, and that kind of died real quick. Like, we did our top 10 favorite platformers.
Oh, yeah.
Were we trying to do that in the same episode?
We were doing top 10 favorite games, top 10 favorite movies, and like top 10 favorite somethings. And we stopped on the freaking games. We never did the movies or anything.
It was a long episode. I think we were planning on doing the other ones at some point. I think that's what happened.
We started talking about the actual games and we're like, we're done.
This is running way too long.
So those will come back. We will go back to that.
We'll do a top 10 list of different things going, in the future for sure. Well, those are your top two nostalgic moments?
That was my two. Yeah, right there.
Hey, do you remember that? I guess I'm just going to cut in early real quick and just kind of throw a connecting one with you. One moment that I liked a lot with us, meaning you coming in on year 2, was when we had Brandon Fouts guest appear on our show, and it was one of you were visiting that week, and you were at the table with us, and we talked about what we can expect from Destiny 2's Warmind DLC. We were all like, or maybe just Destiny 2 in general was coming, and we were wondering how the lost sectors are going to be. We were like wondering about all these different things that had been laid out early on.
Yeah, I was not here for that one. I was sick.
No, it was just me and Lynn, and then we had Brandon on with us.
Yes.
We might have had Nick too.
Mm-hmm. I think Nick was on it too.
I think Nick was on there too.
Or I actually want to say Jeff. Actually,
not at the table. Not at the table with us. No. I remember two faces on the Skype call, on the video chat call. And it was him and I believe Nick, because Nick was really new too, right around that time period with our show, as coming on as a regular.
I was regular, and I was barely on.
Well, for periods of time. Matthew, I'm gonna throw back a year 1 thing that I loved. A couple, like a general grouping of things I loved, because it happened in multiple episodes. Our longest running, shout out to Paul, I love you, dude. But it was a funny bit that we had where we had a reoccurring theme of Paul's dead.
Yes.
Now the idea of him being dead is not funny at all, but we just kept playing into it because he couldn't make it for recording. So we're like, what happened to Paul?
Rest in peace, Paul.
Rest in peace. And then Paul would show up finally, and then Matt wouldn't. And we just had this ongoing rotational joke that anytime a host wasn't making it, it's because they died. And we'd have a little in memoriam picture of their face coming up on screen right here. And then, then we would just be like, well, guys, let's get on with the show.
Yeah, then we had that one that had the freaking milk jug. And then, like, all four of us were actually there.
Yeah, me and Jeff did a skit where you had been gone, both of you had been gone, and we were going to put Matt's face on a milk jug and hope that we would find him. Then he walked in the door and said it was a really long walk from wherever he was coming from, so indicating he had walked the whole way here. And then we're all like, well, we still haven't heard from Paul yet. And then Jeff was like, oh, he's in the hospital getting his stomach pumped. We're like, what? And he's all like, because he drank some bleach. And we're like, what? That's dark, dude. And then he walks in the door, and Paul goes, hello, gentlemen. As it turns out, it wasn't real bleach. It was just Tide. It was regular Tide. And then he went and sat down and said, on the plus side, he can now wash his own clothes. He just has to pee into the washing machine.
And he could also make bubbles with his pee.
He can make bubbles with his pee. Really awkward, weird video, but
it was funny. It was right about the same time that the Being Boozled thing came out too. Cause
it was a little before that.
Yeah.
It was back in the early days of YouTube. We tried to do 10-minute videos because that was the craze for YouTube. That was the average successful video on YouTube at the time, early 2017. And so we would record 3 different segments, movie, TV, and video game, and we'd release, 3 different shows each week for at least the first 2 months. And then editing got a little too heavy for me. And we started we got together for a brief period of time with Geekologist Radio. And it was a lot of fun just kind of bantering back and forth with them at the time. And that kind of like encouraged us with the idea of maybe we could podcast. And here we are today. So we're doing YouTube. We're doing video audio podcasting today because of that. And we will get back to, different kinds of videos, possibly gameplay and or review stuff, like where we, do a short video where we review something.
Yes.
We're working towards that for sure. But anyway, those are a couple of my earliest favorite moments. What are a couple of yours, Matthew?
One of my favorite times was when we got together with the kid from your church, Carter.
Oh, early YouTube, man.
Yes.
We did our one and only Try Not to Laugh challenge video.
We should do that again, though. We need to try it again.
We'll have to work on something like that, yeah.
Because I failed miserably. Anyways, no, but it was fun recording with Carter and even being like a guest on his
channel at the time.
Yeah.
Rest in peace,
mail.
Carter. No, Carter's still alive and well.
Yes.
He's with his family, actually traveling back to Florida because his dad works in the military. So they had to part ways after being here for 6 years locally. So kind of sad to see him go. But if you you guys look up our old video. We've got a link to his old channel if you're into like CS:GO and a lot of gameplay FPS shooters and stuff on his channel. But we did a Try Not to Laugh with him. It was fun.
Yes. I still remember the watermelon thing, like that. Just keeps
a series of vines.
Yeah.
Regarding the statements.
I don't got a helmet, but I got a watermelon.
Yeah.
Some people have Pantene, but I got a watermelon to keep me clean.
So stupid, but they're funny and they're short. Did you have anything else you wanted to? Any other moments you wanted to share before we conclude?
I would say another one of my favorite episodes would be what he said was the Bean Boozled. Filming that was fun because we were playing. What was it?
So describe the game for those that haven't gone back and seen that episode.
Okay, so Bean Boozled is going with the Harry Potter
Jelly Belly beans.
Jelly Belly beans. So you got like vomit and grass.
They look sweet,
toothpaste,
and then you taste them, and they're a horrific flavor.
The worst one to date, I think, is that rotten milk one, or curdled milk. Sorry. Yeah,
that one just makes you. Just the taste makes it's crazy how the company has come up with these flavors.
Yeah,
and like simulated them to be like, wow, how did they get that flavor? Because it tastes just like it should be.
Yeah.
It tastes nasty. Rotten milk, basically.
That one lingered in my mouth for a long freaking time, and I did not like that.
I will just throw this out there. Editing the video was fun up to a point, and a point where Jeff Berry is kind of gagging on one and making gagging noises. It made me almost want to throw up just watching it.
And the game we were playing that with was a card game.
Cards Against
Humanity. So basically what happened was we would sit there and whoever lost that round would have to take a Bean Boozled. Take
a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rotate the little device and it would pop a bean up and you had a 50-50 chance of it tasting good or it being something nasty. That was a pretty raw, uncut episode. It's explicit. There's cussing, and the game Cards Against Humanity is an adult game, guys. So, don't let little kids play that game. Just throw that out there.
That's
by little kids. To each his own on what that judgment call is.
I'm gonna go back to our very first video.
Unaired or aired?
Aired. Well, we recreated it aired.
Okay. But
so,
go ahead, reference.
Where you have your chair, and it's like sitting down low.
That was still part of the aired one, yeah.
Yeah. And then popping it, like, every freaking time. Whatever the reason, that just cracks me up every freaking time. And we did that with the Nerd News and Brews for our first... That was
our
stuff.
Testing pre-alpha title.
Yes. And then we did it again as Nerdentials.
And we beta tested Nerdentials. And then we rolled with it.
Yeah. So that was another one. And
we changed it from Nerd News and Brews for two reasons, guys, in case you're curious. Nerd News and Brews, although rhymey, is kind of silly at first glance and also just a mouthful to say. It's a lot of words.
That was a lot of words.
Also, we're not necessarily alcoholics. I will just only say that for myself. The idea with Nerd News and Brews is we'd talk nerdy things like we do already, and we would sample a different microbrew from some local company. Each episode, we'd talk about what we're drinking that week. And we kind of did that a little bit here and there, but it wasn't a strong enough part of our show to have it in the title. So we tried to come up with something that was singular, defining, described what we do, and memorable. Because anytime I tell people like kind of what it stems from, is the word credentials is often what people throw out there, but we like to focus on the word essentials because we like to believe that we're delivering you guys what you need essentially for your nerdy life.
The nerd life, yes.
The nerdy pop culture. So, and I tried it out and it wasn't being used, and boom, here we are today, 2 years later, still rocking it.
I'm trying to think. There was another one that I was thinking of earlier, but I completely lost
Episode-wise reference?
Yeah.
Here, I'll throw a quick one out there. How about the one where Nick surprised you and Jeff Barry, and he was hiding out in my bedroom?
Get out of my head. That was actually the one.
So, we did it. We set up a recording. I had Matt and Jeff Barry over at our house, and we had the table set up similar to this. We were in our old apartment. We were getting ready to record. I had Nick Thomas up on the TV screen over Skype. And the whole time, they thought he was 3 hours south down in his hometown. When the whole time that night, he was hiding away in my bedroom. And he got on his phone with the headphones, trying to look, go blank background.
Yeah.
And pretend like he was home. And then he was saying, hold on just a minute. I need to go out there and tell my roommates to be quiet. They're being obnoxious. And Matt was kind of caught off guard for me there. He's like, roommates? What roommates? And as that was happening, Nick's taking the phone with him and walking backwards as he opens my bedroom door. And Jeff and Matt could hear him coming down the hallway. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
No way.
I see the door open, and I'm like, there's somebody in your room. And then Nick pops out, and I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, man, we were trying to keep it a secret. We kept him in there for like a half hour in my bedroom while you guys were arriving.
Yeah.
To show up.
It was a good surprise, and it was a good episode, too. Like
that was our E3, that was our E3 part 1 where we talked about E3 2017. And Nick came over and surprised the guys. That was a lot of fun.
Yes. I do like the Halloween one the little skit that we did for the Halloween, where I walked in while you were setting up the camera and I was...
Oh, early YouTube days. Go back 2016 Halloween, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, you walked in with your anonymous outfit from that V for Vendetta.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm adjusting the camera. I kind of did that. I miss kind of doing that little spiel where I'm setting up the camera and we have that little pre-introduction before the logo slides across. I'm like, what's your name? And you said anonymous, but you were so muffled I thought you said you're not on the list. I'm like, oh, that's awkward. And then Jeff Barry comes in all awkward and off to the side. And we were in my bedroom at the time. Mm-hmm. Real small freaking bedroom. And Jeff sits in his chair and it's way off camera. And I can't pull the camera any further back because it's a tiny room. I'm like, you guys are going to have to get in nice and tight. And then Jeff just gets right in there into half of your lap and nestles up against you. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing that.
It was a fun episode.
Shout out to you, Mr. Barry. You made me laugh so hard in those early episodes.
The Christmas one was also fun. 2016, I think.
Same year. A month or two later, Jeff came back and did the Christmas one. All of these clips, the best parts of those clips can be found in our 1-year anniversary video.
Yeah.
So look that up, guys, if you want to see some of this stuff. It was pretty fun.
I think anytime that we actually did a little bit extra for you guys, I think that was my favorite parts. And me actually going back, like I told these guys, I actually started listening to the podcast. Gasp.
Gasp. He's trying to gain experience by experience. I know, guys. Crazy.
Yeah. I've actually took a page out of what Joe was trying to tell me in
off camera, off air,
that I should listen to myself. That way I can see what I need to work on and why I shouldn't hate my voice. And even though I still hate my voice when I record,
everyone's their own worst critic. But just move past that, and you can't improve on yourself if you don't hear how you're doing.
Yeah, and so hopefully you guys will start hearing more clearly through my voice.
Maturity in the broadcasting landscape.
Even though I am the comic relief.
Oh, no, you just improve your delivery of that comedy. That's all you do.
That's
all that happens.
It's more or less, the confidence was lacking, I believe, personally, in my stuff. And listening to it now.
This is also why I threw you under the bus and said, hey, open up our show. Episode 40, guys, go back. The intro is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Have you re-listened to that one?
Yes.
On a side note?
Failed the whole time.
I did a montage of all your mistakes at the intro, and I was just like, cut, crop. It's funny. I was like, dude, we're not live. Keep going. I threw him on the spot.
I heard Lane's laugh in the background. I heard Nick in the background. I was just like, I can't do this. But it was good.
I did throw you on the spot. I was like, do it, dude, because no one ever opens up the show, and I just kind of took that by default, you know.
Yes. But all in all, I think.
Oh no.
Only side note, sorry, I keep interrupting, but the only other thing I want to throw out there, I don't want to dive in too much further into this, but the only other aspect of our existence as Nerdentials I want to throw out there that I have good reminiscing feelings over is some of our early Let's Play game videos. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorites, it's still my favorite today, is, and I bet you can guess what I'm going to say.
Would it be... It's either going to be Paul playing Resident Evil 7, or it's going to be me playing freaking...
No, it was Paul, but
okay.
What was the other one?
Slenderman.
Early first things we put out in 2016, but the biggest one that stood out that I really focused in on,
or the Outlast 2 demo. That
one was fun. We did a quick clip, guys, on our channel of our best jump scares, so go look for that one. It was a Halloween released episode where I just took a montage of all the times we freaked out while playing the game, playing all those different games. But my favorite one was Paul's outburst. I thought the dude was going to have a heart attack. He freaked out for 60 solid seconds to the point where he was yelling loudly, hyperventilating, dude.
No.
He is playing Resident Evil 7 and he was just getting surrounded and freaking out, and it's such a fun memory because we were all it was getting late. Yeah. We're all getting tired. You can see we're about to pass out. And then I sit up. Jeff comes inside from having a smoke. He went outside to have a smoke. He could hear Paul yelling from outside.
Paul woke me up, basically. I'm pretty sure I did fall asleep for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
It was a very late episode.
That was a lot of fun, though.
It was fun.
Lynn.
And now you're going to have a clip of me playing freaking the dang... Yeah.
I might throw some stuff up there, yeah, for reference. But Lynn, now we need to work on 2019, Nerdentials Year 3. We need to create more fun moments and stuff like that. I think that just, us being as close to friends as we are, that is going to happen naturally. But like I said in the last couple podcasts, guys, we're pushing real hard now, being in this new setting with a permanent setup for recording, of pumping out a weekly episode going forward.
To be honest, you could probably even do like a 2018 like laugh compilation of me bursting out laughing.
I'm gonna make
randomly.
a few. I'm throwing this out there. Sometime in year 3, either early in the year or by next summer, I'm going to be compiling some montage videos of a few various things of the life in Nerdentials. So some of it, a laugh track is a good one, because Matt's laugh, he may not be aware of this himself. I've been told by a handful of people that it's very contagious, and it gets all of us kind of falling off kilter once he loses it. So, it's anyone's guess as to where things end up after that.
Yeah.
So, we got jump scare compilations, laugh compilations, an endless list of just complete mess ups and raging over things where I've hard cut them out of our episodes.
Hard cut. Oh.
And I mean, I've got a lot of it in an archive, so I'm not saying I'm going to dig up anything super embarrassing, guys, but I am going to make some montage videos over the next few months.
Okay, I'm not even going to mention that video. I'm going to say it off camera. That way you guys can't understand what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not going to embarrass Matthew by trying to pry it out of him on air, so you will just have to wait till next time, and maybe something will be revealed. Hard cut. I promise I'll cut this out, Matthew. But what are you talking about? No, I promise I will. When I say I'm going to cut something out, I will. The button unbuttoning thing.
He just goes, and yeah, he ripped my shirt.
Your
open.
buttons were damaged,
Yeah.
and then we kept doing hard cuts, and every time a hard cut would happen, you'd lose another button, and yeah. Anyway, Lynn's about to die. Or is dead. I'm not sure what's going on over there. Hi. Okay, anyway, before these fall over again,
Yes.
let's close out the show. So, guys, this was a really long. I don't know what the full runtime on this is going to end up being after I cut out some things, but thanks for joining us on the end of year 2 for Nerdentials. Shout out to you guys that couldn't show up this time around, but we'll do a reunion episode over the next few months when we can get all the guys rallied back up. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Who knows? Maybe we can get 2 wolves and beef outs.
I mean, we could go really nuts, get 7 guys here locally in the studio, and then have some guys over Skype, and then I don't know how I'd edit that.
I mean, that sounds like a fun episode to just
it sounds
watch.
like a ridiculous episode. I don't know what direction that would go in, but it's a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us on the nostalgia train. Thank you for allowing us to do this for the last 2 years. Thank you for just joining us on this journey, for just being a listener,
Yes.
a follower, a friend on Discord and chat. A few plugs. You want to say something?
I was going to say thank you for giving us your time and watching us and helping us grow. You've probably seen it from episode 1 to now.
We've had a strong amount of feedback throughout the 2 years, and we always address it when we get it, and we always try to take note of it.
We need more from you, though.
If you make it to the end, I think you're the real MVP, and I know people think that's silly to say or whatever, but I want to give a couple shout outs just off the top of my head of some of listeners that have given us feedback. Off the top of my head. And you guys, I hope you appreciate this because I did not write this down prior or look everyone up. So, and also, I apologize if I miss anyone's name. But a little quick thank you to the end of our show. I'd like to thank, I don't even know if he watches anymore, but he made a profound statement of saying that he checked us out and he was like, you know, when I looked at your channel, I see this becoming something big, and I'm going to come back in a couple years and be like, whoa. But it was Daniel who made a brief comment on one of our old YouTube videos. So shout out to you, sir. Hope you have come back at some point to check us out, or just say hi and see where we're at. We're still going strong, so thank you for that initial feedback. I'd also like to thank our longest listener and viewer on YouTube, Ms. Carmen. I only know her as Carmen, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you, Miss, for your feedback, for the times that you've watched us and listened to us.
Indeed.
So another quick shout out. Just want to thank Frankie for just being a part of the family and watching our stuff and enjoying it. Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate that a lot.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway, is there anyone else that you could think of off the top of your head as far as just general listeners that have actually given us feedback? Because I know your buddy Jamie's piped in once with some feedback.
Jamie.
So I want to
Jamie. Yeah.
I want to thank him for that.
Carter did write on one of our things one time.
Yeah, shout out to Carter one more time for both collaborating and just kind of giving us feedback in the past. Anyone else as far as listeners? Guys, I apologize, but one way you guys can get recognized, I'm going to throw this in here. You can hop on our Discord at the bottom of every video and every podcast. The first link I put on there is the Nerdentials Discord. Look up Discord. It's an easy platform for chatting, and all you gotta do is click on our link and click join, and it'll throw you in there. A lot of us are active pretty daily, and if you just want to say, hey, how's it going, or what are you guys into, or actually message us some feedback, feel free. We got a lot of different chat boxes on there.
Indeed.
But is there anything else you can think of listener-wise that have given you feedback?
No, not that I could think of at the top of my head.
The ones I listed off have been our longest, feedbackers.
Yes.
They've been doing it since early on to today.
There was that one guy who was, I think, friends with Nick. I can't remember his name, but he went back and did a review on each one of our episodes on Podchaser or whatever.
Yeah, shout out to you guys that got on podchaser.com. It's kind of like a review website. It's also a platform where you can actually play the music. So I'll throw the link down in this episode description if you guys want to go on there and see what other people have written that have listened to us. I don't have everyone's names from that, but thank you guys all for your feedback.
There were a few negative comments on there, and we do also appreciate those.
Yeah.
We take it as constructive criticism.
If it's worth improving upon, we'll improve upon it. If it's silly slander and meaningless, we still appreciate it, but we'll keep moving forward.
I hate my voice because I know I put that on there.
Shameful. Stop being so critical. Anyway, that's our listener base. I also just want to throw, as far as people that have given us feedback that we appreciate, we just wanted to recognize you guys. A real quick brief shout out. We did this not too long ago, but because it's our 2-year anniversary, I just want to shout out the guys that have been involved with us on Let's Play videos that, not directly, but they were involved in the gameplay footage. Their voices are there. They were in the game with us. And they're on our Discord. So I want to shout out Kev, a.k.a. Watermelon.
It's Watermelon.
It's Watermelon. He still streams pretty regularly on different games, and he's been on a previous episode here and a few pirate
Sea of
Thieves Let's Plays.
Yes, I play with him and Dr. Confused.
And Dr. Confused. Those two guys Matt plays often with online. Who else has actually done some stuff with us? We appreciate everyone on our Discord. There's a handful too many right now for me to list everyone off at the moment, but we appreciate every one of you guys as well.
Yeah, I can't even think of a...
I think we can kind of leave it at that. I mean, this is year 2, so we kind of been kind of light on content over year 2.
Yeah.
But
so moving forward to year 3, let's hear more from you guys. That way we can interact with each other.
Guys,
here I'm blocking my face right now. That was not cool.
Here's the thing.
You can't see me.
Here's the thing, guys.
Oh.
No. Closing out the show, guys. Here's our call to action, both to ourselves and you as listeners. 1, Nerdentials, get your act together. Get on there more often. I want weekly content. Okay, listeners, call to action to you. We're going to give you that weekly content. Please, feed our backs with some feedback. Write us in under however you want, guys. If email's your thing, nerdentials@gmail.com. If online chatting's your thing, hit us up on our Discord. Links down below in the description. If you guys like social media, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I check those pretty darn regularly and will respond practically the same day, as best we can. But we need you guys to write in, communicate, share ideas, give us feedback, or...
Lynn's calling you out.
What do you mean? What do you call me out? Just because I don't post on it daily doesn't mean I don't check it, Lynn. I check the stuff. I just don't post new things regularly. We just moved here. Teleported, sorry, for you guys that watch the YouTube video. And I had to uproot my whole family because, right now they're packing. Because we teleported here already. Anyway. I'm convoluting the plot here, so I'm going to move on. Guys... Most importantly, all these things can be found on nerdentialsmedia.com.
Indeed. Go check it out.
So go there now. And if nerdentialsmedia.com is too much to write, just type in Nerdentials into Google, hit that search button, and everything that comes forward, at least in the first few entries, was all us. Mm-hmm. Click on any of those things, you'll find us. Anyway, I am rambling. The nostalgia is long in the tooth.
As always.
For me, myself, and I... Oh, and Matt and Lynn. This has been your nostalgic, nerdy Nerdentials. As always, nerds, we'll see you on the other side. I don't feel that way. I don't do the John Cena crap. Did that upset both of you? Lynn, the glare is fierce. I want to get some of those sound effects on a board. Or give us a beat, Matthew. Go in close to the mic and give us a nice beat.
It's down.
Oh, you messed him up!